It's almost hot mess season. It's gonna be uncontrollable here soon. Right now we're gonna enjoy these sunflowers poking up their heads above the fence line. He's about 14 feet tall. Like, can't even imagine. We had cucamelons from last year reseed themselves. That's what this is. Cucamelon's gonna look like a, can barely see him, but he's gonna look like a, it's a type of cucumber, but it's gonna look striped like a little baby watermelon. I've actually picked some off this one already, and it's loaded with San Marzanos. I trimmed a lot of the leaves this week. I had some damage, bug damage, this kind of thing going on. I had, yeah, right here is more. I just picked off all the bug damage, and it needs more. I'm just gonna pick him off too. Damage just, but don't have too much of damage on the vines or on the tomatoes. But I did have some blossom end rot on the Marzanos on the fence because their soil is not as good as the beds. So let's actually going to enter through this door because I wanted to show you this cucamelon too. He's vined. It's got smaller cucumber type leaves. It's not as prickly as a cucumber. And then it's got these little bitty guys coming through. So he'll have some melons. These are called a wandering Jew, and this is a sprig of dill that just reseeded itself, as well as a cypress, red cypress hummingbird vine. I don't think it's actually called hummingbird vine. Our family calls it hummingbird vine, but it's not technically a hummingbird vine. I haven't seen honeybees in the garden in a long time, so I'm not gonna disturb him, but I'm really happy to see a honeybee. That is an actual honeybee. I think they really like the sunflowers. I feel like they were gone until the sunflowers opened up and we started seeing them again. Got some bug damage up there on the leaves. These are the wild tomatoes, the ones I'm not really doing much. I'm gonna have to do more because he's on the ground, and when their tomatoes touch the ground, but that's how cages are. They just can't, I can't keep up with them. You see how they're folded over because he needs to be up high. I'm going to go over the other tomato bed and show you all the tomatoes first, and then we'll switch to the other things. There's some of the San Marzanos, and then we've got, I'm going to try to list all the tomatoes we have. We have pink ox hearts, Vernassage right here is a Vernassage tomato. Behind him is a couple Black Prince, which is a purple tomato, like a purple Cherokee, but smaller, size of a better boy. These are Dr. Wyches, or Wyches. Not sure how to pronounce that. These are Kellogg's. He's just a massive Kellogg's. They're not necessarily look like that all. They are beefsteak. Beefsteak variety, not beefsteak. Just plain beefsteak. And then we have Big Rainbow, which are going to be a striped. Again, they're a little smaller though. Ooh, we got one blushing there. Oh wow. I'm going to try not to break him, but look how big this guy is. He's huge. You're going to see brown cracking like that if they got a little water too fast. He's blushing too. I can't wait. We've got Black Brandywine. I like my purple tomatoes. They label them smoky. It's not like a smoke like you'd smoke meat, but it is less acidic, which I really like. A couple Celebrations hiding in there. I've actually never grown those. I was going to just see how they were because I had extra seeds. Roma, beefsteak, and I think the last couple rows are purple Cherokee. And I went through and pruned this a lot, tied a lot of this up. As you can see, I had to tie some of their poles to this cattle panel, hog panel, because they were falling over to the fence. They're just towering over the poles. I'd say the tomato plants, I'm guessing if I'm 5'4", they're, I don't know, 6.5 feet tall. So, and it's July 6th, so they're gonna need chopped. I'm gonna have to just come across here and cut his main vine so he stops growing, and then he can focus his energy on the plant he's already grown, because I can't support him up there. I'm going to come back here through this small opening. Again, that doesn't bother me really because I want the space to grow. These blackberries get full sun for enough of the day, probably 4 to 6 hours, but they're doing well. They're getting ripe. They're very close. And then our grapevine, I did cut a little bit of it. That's a blackberry, because it was right here. These tomatoes and these guys were just coiled around each other and going up, and it was just like they were at war with each other. So I did cut a little bit of his vine. I hope he doesn't get mad. There's our grapes, and somebody said they had a grapevine, they never grew as much big as bunches. Well, probably because the pollination, and homegrown grapes also are usually not sprayed with things that high-end producers are spraying theirs. See, this is a smaller one because it didn't get pollinated. It's down and it's dark down there. It's actually getting pretty dark outside. But he has some Japanese beetle problems too. They attack the grapevine and just a little bit of the blackberries, which is what they usually get, and the beans. That's more Japanese beetles. So I just shake them off. And this is, see those little black, that's their droppings. And then the holes in the leaves are where they ate. And I shake that too, because they don't like it and they'll fly away. So they just don't stay. I won't have to spray, but I think I'm gonna have to. Letting these kind of go, and had to tie up a sunflower, but I'm short enough I can duck through here. Once I get the fruit or the tomatoes out of these, I'll trim off a little bit and we'll have a little bit better walking space. Always wanted to grow this scarlet runner bean wrapped in yarn. Always wanted to grow it, but I have not had any beans come off of it. Not one. Tons of flowers, no beans. I've seen the hummingbirds on them. This is all that vine. I'm about to just tear him off because my green beans are producing. Those are green beans. Those are Kentucky Wonder pole beans, and they need room. This is all those holes. That is Japanese beetle damage, and if I shake it like this, you can't on camera, but I can see them just fly away. There's that many. I haven't sprayed poison on them because they haven't been eating the beans. The beans are not harmed. So I've just been plucking them, and I flick them, like I just flick them off when I see them. But they're starting to come down to the lower canopy, so I might have to spray something on there. But they're all doing really well. I planted, oh, he needs water. That's just water, he's dry. He's in a pot. That's my pineapple sage. I love the smell of pineapple sage. Just got a slight pineapple to it. Don't even think it smells like sage. It just smells like pineapple, which is my favorite. Pot of peppermint and lavender. So I took these Jack Be Little pumpkin and I just split him in half. He was still good from pumpkin patch in October, and he was sitting on my countertop in July. No, it was the last week of June. And I just stuck a ton of seeds down here, and they're all up, and they have true leaves. These are true leaves. Those are their seedling leaves down here. So I got cut off, but I was saying I can replant some of those and let some of them, that trellis is way open. I've got the butternut squash here. He finally made one down here. A lot of open space, and then I had some, I think that I put these in late because there was so much open space. Kentucky Wonders, another scarlet runner bean that is making flowers but no beans. We've already pulled one spaghetti squash, and another one is here. Squish this guy because there's no messing around with it. And I got another spaghetti squash down there. One vine produced 3 so far, doing pretty good. Okra's small, but I planted 6. I don't normally plant 6 because they're going to make a lot, but normally I have 1 or 2, and I harvest them all summer long. They're not going to produce until late July, so I figured I'll have all of them come in at once. I can pickle them. I love dill pickled okra and just sauteed with butter and salt. The corn is forming pretty good. When the tassels are drying up like that, it means they're ready to pick. You can kind of peel it back, and I can't reach it right now without hurting something. Peel it back and see if it's got its kernels formed. There's squash bugs on the corn. Guess I'll have to take care of that. Zucchini finally kicked in. It's given us 2, and I just picked those baby ones off that were there. If you were following me, they were there for weeks, and they got pollinated, but they just never grew. I just pulled them off, and as soon as I did, it made new ones, and I came out here, and I was like surprised. There's a whole huge zucchini. Finally made something. These guys are small, but they were bitten shaded out. I cut him. I don't know if you can see. And he cut me back. Zucchini has some really sharp, I don't know what they are, but they scratched me really bad. So I had to get him off the ground because he was also shading the watermelon. So I strapped him up with a few. These are really great because they will give on the produce, but they will also support him. I had to tie him up with some string. And he's made 2. I think there's another one on the ground there. Sugar baby watermelons. It looks like we got some, but I don't want to speak too early. He looks like he got pollinated, so I'm hoping he keeps up because I don't have good luck with watermelons. That is a top crop green bean, and he's made quite a few, but not near as much as the Kentucky Wonder. I wouldn't compare them. There's no comparison. This is all loofah gourd. And, oh wow, above my head, to the front of the arch. I didn't even realize this. So that's a problem because he's like a foot off the arch and he's planted in the very back corner. So we're going to have to redirect him, or maybe I'll just turn him back. Be like, hey buddy, go back to your home now because you got to share the arch. So that's what I'll do with him. He will produce loofah. I am going to dry it for bathing and make soaps with it in there and cut up in the middle. I'm also going to, you can pick them small and eat them. They're said to be similar to okra. We'll see. I don't know if that'll taste good or not, but they said to eat them like okra. Then we've got our Kajari and Chartreuse melon. Mostly male blooms. I fed it some stuff. And we're still struggling to get a female bloom pollinated. Butternut squash should be ready. He's starting to turn just a tinge of orange at the top there. And some broccoli that is going to need pulled because he never made broccoli heads. Oh, man. See, this is what working. Going back to work. I missed it. Oh, well. Guess I'll have to just buy it at the store now. So he bolted too fast. This is a cabbage. I just haven't pulled him because we don't need cabbage yet. I pulled 2 heads and it lasted us forever. I made coleslaw and we ate on it like 3 nights in a row. And so I've got some watermelon tucked in there because the brassicas should be out by now. Peppers are doing excellent. I haven't really pruned them. I might just prune off the leaves that are turning yellow or troublesome. It doesn't look like they're having any hard time ripening or turning colors, so I think they're fine. That would be another reason you might consider. There's a Keystone Giant. Lesa, I picked a bunch of those today. They were just barely blushing, but I was excited, so I went ahead and picked them. And it's Monday, so I don't know if I'll get out here much this week. I picked some of these too. Trying to remember what they are. Lilac bells. Keystone bells, hatch peppers. I had a red one. The other ones I'm not picking yet. Kind of try to leave stuff if it's not quite ready and I don't need it, leave it out here so it doesn't rot on your counter. That's the worst. Work so hard and have it rot on your counter. These are the nadapinos or jalapenos, jalapeno without heat. I just have one of those. My Marconi is loaded. He's in a tomato cage because of the storm. But He's got tomato, or he's got Marconi's all in there. It's got really thick flesh. Highly recommend this guy. It's a popular Italian frying pepper because of the thick flesh and great taste. These guys are kind of not doing as good. And then I've got a nasturtium in there. Just stuck him in there. Blueberry bushes, I hope I don't kill them. I need to plant them. And there's the beanstalk, green stalk beanstalk there. It looks like we've got some pole beans. Those are vining. Those are not bush beans. I will have to see what variety that is. I never got the tags in here. I was going to go back and watch my video and see which ones were what. I might just let him go to the fence. It's not going to hurt anything. And I put some sweet potatoes in that bucket. And then on the other side here are the pumpkins. Right there. And the normal, we haven't really added to this, cucumbers on either side of the sorrel. Potatoes, I did pull that bucket. Asparagus is just ferning, going to seed. Sunflowers are providing a little shade for them. We were here at the beginning. And, oh, the fire rings. I pulled a lot of carrots. It looks kind of sad right now because I just thinned them out. I pulled the big ones. I left the ones that weren't quite ready. The big ones were probably taking up a lot of their nutrients and water and space. So now those will fill in and we'll get another round of carrots. That's just oregano. Swiss chard's not liking the heat, but it'll do better if we get a break from this heat. We usually get rain. It's like a week after 4th of July. Every year for the last 5 years at least, I know. It rains real hard after the 4th of July. Green onions, I've just been picking them as I need them and trying to keep the grass down out of them. Kale, we're getting some pests in the kale and I can't control it. So if you ever have greens that look like this, it's definitely caterpillars. And you flip it over, you're definitely going to find caterpillars. So there's some BT spray I put on these, or I just pick them off, or a little of both. This is not good. And when you pick your stuff that has caterpillars on it, that's eggs, you want to, I'm going to burn this one, but you want to soak it in deep water so all that stuff will come off and you'll have clean leaves. You can still eat them. That's the dino kale. There's another word for it, but I forgot what it is. And that's the Scotch curled kale. I really like it. It kind of tastes like broccoli. I don't really like kale, but this has more of a broccoli taste to it, which I do like. This watermelon's doing excellent compared to the others. He's a Congo, and he's wrapped around there and made an extra vine. I need to probably pull the kale out so he can have a better home. And then I pulled the kohlrabi. I just put it in some chicken noodle casserole. I think I'm going to put it in some fried rice. It was okay. You couldn't use as much of the bulb as I hoped, and you could not eat the leaves. Maybe if it was cooler outside, but they were bitter and hard. Very unpleasant. So I don't know if I'll grow that for now on and not. Strawberries are thickening up and making runners, and I'm just letting them go because I'll replant these whenever the beans are done. So just letting them do whatever. Put a little bit of oregano in there. Pulled the rest of the carrots out of here, and I stuck a couple zucchini in there because that guy might not last much longer. We've got a lot of bugs on him already. Squash bugs just like this time of year, and I hate planting squash so early, but I really want summer squash, so we'll let him go as long as I can. But if the vine borers get to his vine, he's done. There's no going back. So I planted a couple by Mr. Gnome here, and it's kind of dry. I probably need to soak it. They should come up pretty fast, and they can have this ring. Not usually what I'd give a fire ring. I wouldn't give him a squash plant, but I don't want to use it for anything else right now. So I figured it's a decent open space that has full sun. That's why it's going to get that. And then I'll pull it up and put carrots in there for the winter. That's about it. It's hot and my family's in the pool, so I think that's where I'm going. I hope y'all enjoyed, and hopefully I'll get another tour in a week or so. Thank you.